taking one for the team here and protecting you. Oh my gosh! Look at the pain. 88 with the triple. Oh, and here comes the Birdman! Flapping his wings and soaring for a sweet flush.
Ladies and gentlemen, we, after a lot of good comments and popular demand, Xavier and Chris decided to make their own feed, branching off from the Magic Hour and doing a whole NBA podcast. Welcome to the NBA Breakfast Podcast with Chris Madrigal and Xavier Gomez. Xavier, are you excited?
I'm excited.
All of our conversations over the bubble, all of our segments are like once a week segments on my podcast, and we are having so much fun. We just had to develop it into its own feed, its own show.
Chris said, "Hey, how would you like to broadcast your voice to a bunch of people so they could listen to you?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" Seemed like a good time. I got a lot of opinions, and I was gonna scream at people anyway, so I might as well get the clicks, not likes.
You're gonna scream about people? What do you mean by that?
Like I'm at the bus stop and I'm like just reading stats, and I'll yell like, "Oh my God, Anthony Davis had 44 points last night. He's a monster." And they'll look at me like, "What are you talking about?"
How do they not know what you're talking about? What losers?
Some people don't know who the unibrow is. Okay, some people don't know, or the brow, as they call it.
Did you inform them after these like outbursts happen? Were they just like, "What are you talking about?" And you're like, "Anthony Davis, the unibrow," and then you gave.
No, I don't actually, but I'm glad that I have this platform as an outlet to inform people about who Anthony Davis.
Yeah, you can reach multiple people at once now, as opposed to just hitting them one at a time at the bus stop.
For the listeners, for the viewers on YouTube, Anthony Davis, if you don't know who he is, Google him. You'll be surprised.
What would surprise them?
He's massive, and he's a unibrow, and he's a star NBA player.
Would you say his unibrow is more glorious than your mustache right now?
No.
For the listeners on the podcast, Xavier's been rocking a good mustache for about, I don't know, like 4 months now.
But it's not like brave and bold to wear a mustache. Like it's a unibrow isn't exactly like a very popular common thing.
Yeah.
The only other person who made the unibrow popular other than Anthony Davis was Frida Kahlo. So is he trying to make a statement like that?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I just don't understand how you could do it. I mean, he could just shave it and we'd all be like, "That's cool."
Yeah, that's a good point.
It would not be a big deal.
But I feel like people would notice if his unibrow was gone. Like it would be a big deal.
Yeah, but if he did it slowly after time, and then people are like, "Is he
just like slowly started shaving away at it?"
Yeah, and are you shaving? He's
I don't know, man.
Balding in the middle.
Think about like LeBron. Like his hairline just slowly just started pushing back more and more every single year, and like you would think that over time you wouldn't notice it, but now it's pretty obvious. Like it became like pretty obvious back in like 2012 when it's just like, "Oh my God, that motherfucker's going bald."
And so what if he went bald? Like, you know what I mean? Maybe, but he wants to have hair. And who are we to judge, honestly?
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. So this is the way that we're opening up our first episode of this podcast, talking about unibrows and balding NBA stars. Welcome to the NBA Breakfast Podcast. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I'll keep it brief and we'll get into the episode. But basically, Xavier was kind of my go-to guy to come on my personal podcast, The Magic Hour. Another member of this podcast network we're starting to grow. What are you doing, dude? And during the bubble, we got really excited and we watched a lot of the games. So, and we got a lot of positive feedback from a lot of my fans from my podcast feed. So they thought we were funny and they thought we were insightful, but mostly that they enjoyed our outlook on the game and on sports and how we like to make jokes about it. Like that opening segment that we just had that you guys just heard, which came out of nowhere.
Just like to have a good time.
Yeah. And that was completely off the top of our heads. And we don't take life too seriously. And that's what you're going to get here. It's not going to be a lot of deep analysis. It's not going to be a lot of breaking down the game film or whatnot. It's just going to be talking hoops and in a fun and funny way. I mean, we'll get a little bit serious here and there. We do like the game, but we're not gonna. If you're looking for Stephen A. Smith type analysis, this is not the show for you. This is more fun.
Quick, favorite player whose initials are KD on 3. 1, 2, 3. Kevin Durant. You got one? You can't use mine. You can't use mine.
I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of another one.
Right.
I have mixed feelings towards KD after the way he left Golden State, but we're not going to get into that in this episode.
I didn't ask. I said whose initials were KD.
Carl Anthony Downs. He's the brother of Carl Anthony Towns, but for some reason he has a different last name. I don't know why, but he does. He plays in Germany. It's it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not.
I really can't think of another player whose initials are KD. Luckily,
I can't.
That important. So.
Did you just say that only because you're wearing the KD OKC jersey?
Right this is throwback vintage.
For the listeners not watching on the YouTube channel, Xavier's rocking a Oklahoma City Kevin Durant jersey.
It's a throwback vintage Oklahoma City Kevin Durant jersey.
There you go.
35. Yeah.
That is probably one of the first years that they were in that city. All right, let's start with our first segment. Let's turn the coffee pot on. All right, everybody. So this is gonna be our first segment in every single episode. Again, NBA Breakfast. This is the theme. How the name of the show came up was our first few episodes on my podcast. We recorded in the morning, so we started calling it NBA Breakfast. So that's why it's the name of our show.
Morning coffee is brought to you by Eggo Waffles. No, they don't really give us any money, but God, I love Eggo Waffles.
Yeah, I mean they're quick, they're easy, and they just taste so good.
I've been putting them in the toaster oven instead of the regular toaster. One, because I'm afraid of toasters when they pop up, they make me scream.
What's your favorite Eggo flavor?
Buttermilk.
Buttermilk?
Yeah. Homestyle's not bad too. So people are like, put the blueberries and chocolate chips. What are you talking about?
You know what's wild? I was always super into the fat-free ones. I don't know. For some reason, they tasted bomb. I don't know why, but they just did.
They have no fat?
I think low fat. I think not fat.
I wonder what about it makes.
I don't know, but it tasted good. The homestyle ones, I don't know, man. Too much buttermilk in it. You know what I mean? Like it's just I don't know. But I mean, they're all good no matter what.
Eggo Waffles, ladies and gentlemen, get some at your local Kroger or CVS or Safeway. Sponsored by. They don't actually sponsor us, but we love them.
And we're just giving them free advertisement right now. Also, why didn't you choose a coffee company to be the sponsor for the coffee segment?
Because I don't drink coffee, so I don't know anything about coffee. Or like I don't know the difference between like a French press or like a pour over, or if those are the same thing.
French press is like it.
I don't care.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, so let's move on to the segment. So this is we're always going to start the episode with this segment. It's the biggest story of the week. That's why we're turning the coffee pot on. We're starting breakfast. So the biggest story this week was Giannis Antetokounmpo. Fun last name. Signed a supermax with the Milwaukee Bucks. He's going to get about $250 million over 5 seasons. Yeah, I mean, we were texting about it, Xavier. This just this affects the league in so many ways other than just like how the Bucks are going to look in the next 5 years. Like, it's just like, the main thing that we were talking about is how it affects the free agency class next season, because it kind of opens things up for certain players. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I don't know, man. What was your first thought when he signed this shit?
I was surprised. I didn't think he was gonna leave. I mean, I thought he was gonna leave Milwaukee. He had every reason to say, and Milwaukee did make a decent amount of moves in the offseason, like getting Drew Holiday.
Yeah, but they got fucked by Bogdanovich, though.
Yeah, that would have been nice to have, but they could get by without it. I don't remember the name of the kid who they picked up in the draft. But I don't
either.
They're gonna be all right. But I think what's surprising is the big contract that Rudy Gobert just signed of similar amount. And
it's about $200 million
for 4 years, 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
And he's a center, so it makes it seem like, did Gobert get overpaid, or is that like with the market it's at, or did Giannis get underpaid, or is his contract not as impressive?
Well, I think the best way that I can kind of like dive into that is that, yes, the center market I don't think is very outstanding right now, especially with the way the game is and how fast it is and how you kind of need everybody to shoot. 7-footers need to be able to shoot from 25 feet now. Not a lot of guys who do necessarily what Gobert does and just do amazing just rim protection like nobody's business. Like I feel like it's especially centers these days are a lot more offensively driven. And when you have a specialist like that who you're going to get every night, you get like 3 blocks a game, 10 boards, 15 points, like it's pretty he's like what's the word I'm looking for? He's
very versatile. He's like really good defensively.
He's like,
but is he your franchise guy?
He's like quick, you know what I mean? Like he's not like one of these like slow big men who's just kind of like
athletic,
way up and down the court. Like he can move, you know what I mean? And he can facilitate, and he's obviously doing something right. He just got $200 million. Like the Jazz think he's doing something right. And I think also part of it is I think the Jazz are trying to build their core for the future. They just gave also Donovan Mitchell that super max. He's getting like $230 million. Over 5 years or something like that, his extension. I think they're just trying to get their core and they're trying to move from there. I was looking at their payroll today. They've got Bogdanovich locked up for 4 more years. They've got Jordan Clarkson locked up for 3 more years. They got who else? Joe Ingles for 2 more years. Like they have their core and they want to move forward with it. And then hopefully they can build next offseason from there, maybe get like one of these guys like Oladipo or some shit like that. Because Conley's contract, which is like almost $30 million a year, that's coming off the books this coming year. So they're going to have a little bit of cap flexibility. And with all these extensions and everything, I think they're only at like $90 million in their payroll. Like they have a ton of cap space next season to spend money if they really want to. The problem is who the fuck wants to live in Utah?
Exactly. Yeah. I think it was really good timing by Gobert because he wasn't necessarily a free agent yet. So he chose to step out and might make the extension early, like right after Giannis makes his big contract. So you can kind of match with a number like that big. And old man's getting paid, right? He's making good money.
Yeah. Dude, Utah, Winners. That they water down their beers?
Really?
Yeah. So if you ever go to Utah, never get a beer on draft because on draft, they water them down through the tap system. A typical draft beer in Utah is about 3.2 to 3.5%, like Coors Light, which Coors Light is normally 4.2. So always get bottle or canned beers. Never get anything on draft.
What?
Which brings me back to my point. Who the fuck wants to live in Utah, bro?
Who wants to live in Milwaukee?
They're not going to get any free agents. Who the fuck wants to live in Utah?
$228 for 5 years. Would you take that to live in Milwaukee for 5 years?
Dude, you know what $250 million can get you in Milwaukee? Like this ain't California. Like I could buy my apartment that I live in Milwaukee.
True. And all your friends can come live with you. You could just pay for apartments for them to live in.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying like my actual apartment, just the apartment itself. I'm talking about the building. I could buy this building with that money.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
with my salary now in Milwaukee, like that's why I would do that. Utah, there's no benefits there. It's a bunch of fucking squares. It's Mormonville. No offense, but like it is.
Yeah, I bet the beers are a little bit heavier in Milwaukee, so it makes a lot of sense.
And Rudy
Gobert is French, and you know how I feel about the French people, so maybe it's all right for him to live in Utah.
Why don't you tell the listeners who are new to this podcast how you feel about French people and why you hate Rudy Gobert in general?
French people, they have all the best food, all the best wine, all the best women, yet they always act so upset and disinterested in everything. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you have the best of everything. Why are you so mean? I don't get it, so therefore I don't like him. And Rudy Gobert, I don't like the guy, all right? He's the first one who got the Rona, and honestly, good for him. I don't like the guy.
All right, that wasn't really a good reason. Let's get back to the Giannis deal.
It was my reason.
Yeah. Do you think it was good that he stayed? I think it was good. I think it was good for the NBA personally.
I don't know where he would go.
Miami.
That would be much better immediately. And I don't know if Miami is the right fit for him. Him and Jimmy Buckets together, I don't know.
I think they would dominate, dude.
We'll see. Okay. I guess we won't see.
Well, so the main thing, and then I mean, I obviously think it's good for the Bucks because it's just gonna constantly bring in revenue for them. He's a star. He's gonna get a lot of attention. It's gonna get a lot of nationally televised games. People are gonna want to go there.
Yeah,
it's definitely a good investment. How it affects the free agency class. This is the interesting thing about 2021. We looked at the list. What was it yesterday? and we were trying to like kind of decide, like kind of make guesses on where we think that certain guys could potentially go. Some of the people were on the market. Kawhi Leonard probably not going to leave Clippers, so like that's not really a big name in that free.
What do you mean? Probably not going to leave the Clippers?
I don't think he's going to exactly what I said. What I said. I don't think he's going to leave the Clippers.
What if he has a bad season? What if they get eliminated in the second round, just like they did last year?
I don't know. Where do you think he could go that would benefit him more?
Lakers. What if he goes back to Toronto and wins another championship? How unreal would that be? What if they make him an offer he just can't refuse? He's like, you know what?
I don't think that's realistic.
It's not realistic. You're right.
You mean the Tampa Bay Raptors?
The Tampa Bay Raptors.
There's a few other names at the top of the list that, I mean, I think for lack of, I mean, I think that it's a fair assumption to assume that they weren't going anywhere, but Victor Oladipo was a name at the top of that list that stood out. We think that he's going to be a big free agent target for a lot of people because he's made it clear that he's not happy in Indianapolis. If he Indiana, if he kills it this season, a lot of people are going to go after him. I think he's very versatile. He can fit in a lot of different teams. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's unrealistic, Xavier.
No, not at all. I like Victor Oladipo a lot as a player. Yeah. I think people are concerned about like how healthy he's going to be coming off an injury. But if he's 100% or even really close to it, he could make a difference on any team. I mean, but then again, Indiana was like good last year, and they ended in the playoffs as a 4 seed. They lost to Miami, who ended up going to the finals. I mean, and they didn't even have Victor for most of the series. So
they didn't have Sabonis either.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think Indiana is a real force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
In the East. So he might. I think if they make a good enough push, maybe go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Why not stay?
But he's not. He's already he's pretty much made it clear that he's not happy. He doesn't want to stay there.
True. Yeah, but winning could change your mind.
You think so? I don't know. I feel like he would have signed something already. If
I mean, yeah, but then again, like Indiana has the pieces, they have the parts, a good team. And he already knows the system.
I
think
their
needs
team.
To be a
I think
better,
is super dark horse this season.
There's got to be another team like open and willing to accept him. Be like, hey, you're gonna fit here. Otherwise, I don't think there's a clear cut favorite other than Stan because Indiana is a good team.
Yeah,
and the East sucks.
So if he doesn't stay, though, I mean, he's got to be the main prize of that offseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could see a team like San Antonio really benefiting from him.
Yeah.
Really like
he would be interesting with DeRozan. Although DeRozan, I think, is a free agent this coming offseason, though. So I don't know.
True, but maybe that'll sway him to stay. It's crazy what teams are gonna have to do in the West this year to like really propel them to win more regular season games because it's gonna be a big fight. Just to seed into the playoffs, you know what I mean? Like the 1 through 8 spots are insane.
They added that play-in tournament too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's carrying over from the bubble. I didn't know that.
But it's extended, so it's gonna be it's 7, 8, 9, and 10 seeds go into this play-in tournament to get into the playoffs.
I love that.
So it's not just 8 teams of each conference that make the postseason now. Now it's 10. And you try to make your way into the actual playoffs.
Oh, the Warriors will definitely make it in there.
All right, cool. So that I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about the Giannis Supermax that you think how it affects the season or whatnot? Or
do you think him staying do you think it's gonna make other players want to gravitate towards him in the next 5 years? Like saying like, oh, Giannis is locked down in Milwaukee. You know, do we want to team up with him? Because him and like another star player, maybe 2 more, that's a super team, you know?
I don't know. That's tough, man. That market's tough to draw in free agents, like you said. As much as I was like defending Milwaukee earlier, it is tough. Like I think the only way to get a lot of those guys is you have to trade for them and then just kind of sell them on the city when they get there. You know what I mean? Or draft them and sell them on the city when they show up, like kind of like what they did with Giannis and Middleton. So I think that's the only move. I think that's why they made a lot of these trades in the offseason too, was so that because they know that's kind of the only way. Like it's hard to lure guys in free agency. So like, all right, let's get him here for a year, show him how much fun we have, and then maybe Drew Holiday stays. Or maybe Bogdanovich stage, which he didn't want to go in the first place. But
yeah. And you know what? Dragic would be nice over there too.
He would, but he just signed his deal with Miami.
Oh, really? I thought he was gonna be a. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah. Dang.
All right, let's move on to the next segment, the short stack. These are minor news stories that happen throughout the week.
Yeah, the short stack.
Who's it sponsored by? Bisquick?
No. This one is sponsored by the Northridge California State University Library. I stole a lot of textbooks from that place, and honestly, wouldn't have passed college without them. So shout out to Northridge. Don't bill me.
You went all the way to Northridge just to steal textbooks?
I had a friend who also was doing a film program out there, and I visited him, and he was like, "Hey, I got all these books," and I was like, "They're mine now," and I took them. And, that was it. That's the story. It's not that interesting. I needed the textbooks, and I wasn't going to pay like $1,000 for them. I was broke.
That's a fake sponsor for this this week's short stack. So James Harden has lost his mind. He's also very fat.
Could be all right.
I don't even know where to begin with this, bro. Like, I mean, the guy was partying in Vegas 2 days before he was supposed to show up to camp. He doesn't show up to camp. He's seen partying other places. He shows up a couple days ago. He's fat as fuck.
All right.
And then he walks on the court and scores like fucking 25 points in 25 minutes. Like, I just don't. He's clearly is trying to get out of there because there's a rumor it feels like every day there's a new rumor that Shams or fucking Woj puts out there like, oh, these teams are now talking to the Rockets about a Harden trade, but there's not really a lot you could do. There's not a lot of teams out there that can offer anything for Harden except for really the Sixers. So I don't know, man. It's weird. It's a weird situation that we're in right now.
I think
if you're Philly, would you want Harden over Ben Simmons?
Yes, 100%. Daily, nightly, forever. Are you kidding me?
If you're 100%. Houston, would you want that trade? Would you want to get Ben
Simmons?
No,
of course not. I don't think Houston wants to get rid of James Harden at all. I think they want him to retire, Rocket, as they should. He's a great player, Hall of Fame worthy. I think what's happening with James Harden is that normally in the regular season, there's a good couple months between, after the finals and when you got to report to training camp, you start the season. There's like 3 months, and all these players get to have their summers. They get to go party, do whatever. But since the season ended, 2 months ago, these players don't really have that, and we're in a lockdown, so they can't do nothing, can't have any fun, and they got to get it out of their system because they know they're going to be in a grind for the next 6 to 8 months. During the basketball season. And it's going to be even worse because of COVID. You know what I mean? So I think James Harden is acting out, but really he's just trying to get this out of his system because he knows what's ahead of him, all the hard work.
Well, there's reports about how they fucking party all the time during the season based on where James Harden wants to party. Like they go to Miami and they'll literally change his travel schedule, be like, hey, I want to stay here tonight and party tonight. So
he's a party animal.
We got to fly tomorrow. So they'll change their flights and their travel arrangements around James Harden's partying throughout the season.
If you're James Harden and you want to party, the Rockets they're not going to reprimand you. They're not going to do nothing. They're not going to try to get rid of you. They're going to be mad at you. But if you say, I want to trade, then they'll be like, all right, hold on. They're going to the game changes. Now they're going to try to keep you and do anything they can to please you so that you don't want to leave Houston all of a sudden. When in reality, he always wanted to stay. He just didn't want to get in trouble for partying and all this shit, not reporting to training camp when he was supposed to.
It just sounds like a fucking
good
nightmare.
Plan, but he's not going to do it.
Of
course it is. Of course it is. It's messy, but I feel like that's kind of James Harden's style. He showed up to the court 15 pounds overweight and still could play good. He knows what he's doing, but it just doesn't look good. He's the man though.
That's the man though. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is the one that you really wanted to talk about. Jerry West is being sued for.
I didn't really want to talk about it.
You're the one who was like, oh, Jerry West. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about Jerry West tomorrow. Jerry West is being sued by some dude saying that he was forced or something like
Johnny
that.
Johnny Wilkes
was forced to help him tamper and get Kawhi to come to the Clippers. I don't really know the full story. To be honest with you, I don't give a shit. Everybody tampers these days. I don't even know why this is even a rule. I mean, There's a reason why literally like at the stroke of midnight every year in free agency, there's like 10 deals that get announced by Woj at like 12:01. It's because they've been talking for months. Like this whole like thing that the NBA is trying to act like tampering doesn't happen. It 1000% does. Like,
there's no
we ain't stupid, bro.
Yeah, this is a non-story in my opinion because it's like Wilkes is only blaming it on Jerry West because he doesn't want to get in trouble by the NBA and get fined.
Yeah,
and I bet Jerry West was like, "Hey, if you get caught, like just blame it on me. I'm Jerry West. The NBA is gonna fine me."
I'm the logo, bro.
Yeah, he's like, worst case scenario, he'd be like, Jerry West told me to do it, and then Adam Silver's gonna be like, all right, like, hey Jerry, like, did you do this? Nope, no, I didn't do it. Like, all right, like, or would he says yes, like, hey, I did this thing, and Adam Silver's like, all right, like, don't do it again, and that's it. That's the whole conversation, you know. Like, what are they gonna do to him? And like, the NBA, what are they gonna do? Reverse it because of tampering? They can't do that. They love having Kawhi in LA. You know what I mean? They're gonna throw a fine at Jerry West. He's super rich. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. I think there's gonna be no consequences at all, and it's totally fine.
Yeah, I think there's just not many big stories that have been happening in the media these past few weeks. So like they just jumped on that.
I mean, it's definitely a story.
And now we're jumping on it. We're fucking talking about it on our podcast. We don't even need to be doing it, but you wanted to talk about it.
It's a non-story, but it's a story.
You were all go fucking gung-ho about talking about this shit yesterday. Now you're like trying to completely brush it off, fucker.
I just gave like a 5-minute spiel about it, but yeah, it's a non-story. But I'm very opinionated about it now.
Oh my god,
I like Jerry West.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll jump into our marquee segment of this week. Every week we'll take a break here and then we'll jump in our main segment. So stick around and we'll be right back.
Did you call me?
All right, welcome back, everybody. So this week's segment is going to be a little bit of a mini preview, I guess you could call it in some way, shape, or form, of this NBA season, which starts on Tuesday, the 22nd. 2 games on ESPN. Check it out. Warriors are going to be one of them. Go Dubs. To be completely
Go Dubs.
Could be completely transparent. Both Xavier and I are Warriors fans, so you will hear a lot of Warriors talk on this podcast, but it's not going to be primarily Warriors. So this week's marquee segment is going to be called Xavier's Sounds of the Season.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through every single team, and he's going to give us a sound, just any sound at all, to describe how he feels about this team in the coming season. Xavier, are you ready?
I'm ready. Do you have the order of the teams already, or should I go with my order how I have all the teams?
I was just gonna go from the Eastern Conference up and down on I don't know.
Go
ESPN's
ahead. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. I got my sounds. Let's do this.
All right. And first, we're gonna go with the Brooklyn Nets. Xavier, what is your sound for the Brooklyn Nets this season?
It's this. The Brooklyn Nets. My sound for them this season is boing, because they're gonna bounce back this season. They got KD and Kyrie, and they're gonna have a real good run and have a good time.
That's a good one. I like that. Yeah, I like their team a lot, except for Kyrie's crazy. So I feel like at some point,
you know, he's not that crazy.
Their team is gonna just completely implode, and it's gonna be hilarious to watch.
I mean, all right. What if you went more of like a Phil Jackson route where he got really like spiritual?
He's
like,
already
really,
going crazy. You see him like burning sage in the Boston
Phil
Garden.
Jackson used to do that. That's what I'm saying. You know, like maybe he just wants to like preach more unity in his team, and that'll make him better at basketball. You know, he's in a different place. He won a championship young. You know what I mean? So now he can just do whatever he wants. He might be a Hall of Famer.
I think that's the problem. He thinks he can do whatever he wants, and he's doing whatever he wants, and it's fucking weird.
He's getting away with it. I mean, he's on the Nets with KD.
All right, next team, the Philadelphia 76ers.
For the Philadelphia 76ers, this is my sound. That's a sound of a bubble bursting because they're going to get their bubble bursted when they don't do very well in the playoffs yet again. God, I can't stand the 76ers. And Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons, he's whatever.
What's the thing that you dislike the most of the 76ers?
how they're just like, they get talked about on the television all the time, and they're not a very good team. They just don't play basketball well. They're very clunky in their style, and like they're just not good. Like, why do we keep talking about this team? They suck.
But like, I mean, they got a new coach. They got Doc this year. They made some good pieces. They got some shooters finally. I don't know. I mean, there's some potential there. They
So
play
they
in
could
the
win.
fucking
Yes,
East.
they'll win like 43 wins again, and they'll maybe scrape by in the Eastern Conference. Cool.
Bobby's gonna shoot you in the face next time he sees
He
you.
knows it. He's gonna agree with me.
Our buddy Bobby, who's a Sixers fan, we just
Shout out Bobby.
he's just basically tormented because all of his teams just they just torment him. I mean, the Eagles. I mean, if you're everybody knows about the Eagles this season, they're just a train wreck. And then what
Something
the
about
Sixers
Philly,
have
huh?
done, what the Sixers have done the past couple of years, is just completely ruined their team. I mean, he's just losing his mind, and it's great. All right, the Chicago Bulls.
The Chicago Bulls. That's breaking because they're not going to really change or do anything much more than they did last season. They're going to kind of hit the brakes and kind of stall and get kind of mid. They were like a mid team last year. This is one of those teams who was going to get, I don't know, 30, 40 wins. You know, probably won't be much of a team that's going to like make a good playoff push. Although maybe they might sneak in. But
You don't think they're going to
no.
be better this year? I think they're going to be a lot better. I like Wendell Carter. I like Markkanen. I like Kobe White. I like Levine. I think there's potential there.
I think with the rise of the Washington Wizards, their ticket to the playoffs is the chances are a little bit slimmer now.
Yeah,
That's another spot that they're not going to keep guaranteed almost.
All right, the New York Knickerbockers.
The New York Knickerbockers. Where did I write the Knicks at? Oh, okay, here it is. Cha-ching! I think the Knicks are going to do pretty good this year.
Why? Why do you think they're going to be good?
All right, I just think they have a nice, fun, young team. They're in the East. I don't necessarily think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be fun to watch. They're going to look like a very cohesive team.
Mm-hmm.
I like their new their pick.
Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin, which I think is probably one of the funniest names in all of basketball. I mean,
What's
Obi
his name
Toppin?
sponsored by?
Obi Top. Let's not do that. All right, this is a family podcast, Chris. No, I think they're gonna cash out in their future, but they have a good team, good young team that's just gonna have a good time, get to learn it like themselves and like work together. And at the same time, the season's gonna be kind of nothing for some teams that like are really kind of out of the reach.
Yeah,
it's a COVID season, so like I think some teams are gonna be okay, like calling it a wash, and the Knicks are one of those teams.
All right, the Atlanta Hawks.
Whoop! There it is. I think the Hawks. This is their time. I think this is their time to really shine and rise up through the Eastern Conference.
Rise up.
Trae Young has been too good for too long to just be the Mike Trout of the NBA. Just a great player who's just sitting on a team that's really not taking them anywhere. But I think this is the year they're going to get taken somewhere. And they got my boy Bogdanovich, the Bogman. I just love that name.
You really in the offseason, you really wanted the Warriors to somehow make a way to sign him, but there was no,
because he was great on the Kings. The Kings love having great players that they just ship off somewhere else. But yeah, the Hawks, they're gonna rise up in the East. They're gonna be a problem for somebody, and it could be Milwaukee.
All right. I love the acquisitions they made in the offseason. Danilo Gallinari, bro, fucking yeah, Bogdanovich and Rondo, and they had a lot of good players that really like developed last season. Kevin Huerter was fucking good last year. I'm not too crazy about Cam Reddish. I think that I didn't like him coming out of the draft. I don't really know what his deal is, but DeAndre Hunter and John Collins, I think both are two guys that like they developed a little bit last year, but they're going to take a next step this year, and they're going to be like big important pieces of that team. I really do, and I think. I don't know, man. I don't see them as like a 5 or 4 seed, but I think they can maybe squeeze in like a 7 or a 6 seed. Are they better than the Sixers? Probably not. Are they better than the Nets? Probably not. Are they better than the Heat? Probably not. But they'll get in the mix a little bit.
They're going to be in the mix, and I'm excited to see them in the mix. I'm trying to see Trae go further in the playoffs.
Yeah,
he's good, man. He's good.
All right, Detroit Pistons.
Detroit Pistons. Okay. For this one, I wrote a word to kind of like remind me of a sound.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
the
you
word
can't
was
remember what that sound is?
no. The word is blockbuster, and I think the sound is boom because I think the Pistons are going to be really explosive and fun to watch. I really like Blake Griffin.
Really? Wow.
Yes, I really like Blake Griffin. I thought they were playing really fun, good basketball in the bubble. And it's the East, and I think those guys know it. There's a lot of like veterans on that team, and they could be a real problem for somebody in the first or second round. But I think they're going to be one of those teams who's going to snatch up a later playoff spot and kind of force out teams who really want to make it like the Bulls.
I really liked Christian Wood, and they let him just walk. They didn't really replace him. Jeremy Grant's cool. I don't think he's quite as good as Christian Wood, though, but he's good. He's good. He's a good player. That's going to be a big loss for the Nuggets. They signed like Mason Plumlee. They signed a lot of bigs. It didn't really make sense to me.
And they're all guys who like to dunk. And honestly, I like that. And if the Pistons want to do anything else but sell tickets so people can watch guys who just dunk all the time, I'm there for it, And that's what I wrote blockbuster because I want to see explosiveness. I want to see dunks. I want to see them lose by 30 but have 40 dunks. That's a good time.
Lose by 30 but have 40 dunks. All right, we'll see. They drafted Killian Hayes. I'm a big fan of him in the draft. All right, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
That's my sound. That's my sound for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about them. They fucking. Who cares?
There's just nothing to talk about there.
Kevin Love is old.
Kevin Love.
Andre
he's
Drummond,
doing these commercials about how he
by.
has problems with his mental health, and I think it's because he's living in Cleveland for so long. Like all his friends left. It was a bunch of great fun time. He still has all these memories of championships. Kevin's got to get out of there. It's just making everybody sad. It's making Cleveland fans sad.
Yeah,
making
I agree.
Me sad.
Orlando Magic.
The Orlando Magic. Woo! I think they got a lot of upside. They're one of the teams that I was really betting on early last year in the playoffs to upset the Milwaukee Bucks.
I
know. And I got that opening win.
You took that hot, like I remember you said that on accident on my podcast, and me and Jackson just ran with it, and we are just like, oh really? You want to double down on that statement?
How did you feel after the Magic upset the Bucks? That was the Bucks' first game in the playoffs, first round, and they dropped it to the Magic, and it was a tough game. They lost by like 11 points. Honestly, I was hyped. I realized that
they made it a series though. They took it to 6 games.
No, they lost the next 4 straight.
Oh, did they?
But I mean, honestly, I think that was really inspiring of a young team like that. Aaron Gordon, a lot of upside. It's one of these teams that I'm really going to watch later towards the end of the season to try to make one of those playoff pushes. So they're going to be in that little handful of teams, and that's really where like the most excitement I think is going to come this season. People fighting for playoff spots. I mean, yeah, the playoffs are going to be fun, but those last couple weeks, oof. So excited.
Vucevic kind of carried them through the bubble, though. I would be a little bit worried if I was like, he can't do that for a whole season. Like Fournier needs to step it up. Fultz needs to step it up. All those guys, like
they might play half a season though. You know what I mean? They're playing way less games than normally.
Yeah, they're playing like 70 games. It's not a lot less.
I thought the first half was going to be like 40, and then they might do the last 30 afterwards. But who knows how that 30 is going to go?
Yeah. All right, the Toronto Raptors. Oh, they intrigue you a little bit. I see.
They intrigue me. The Toronto Raptors are a team that, like, I don't know. I guess I didn't really I underestimated them. I would say they went a lot further. They played a lot better than I thought they were gonna do last year without Kawhi. That Fred VanVleet is fantastic. So yeah, there's another team that I really want to watch. Excited. Very intriguing. Yes.
I don't know, man. They lost their big men. They lost Ibaka and Gasol.
They're slowing them down.
Well, who's going to get rebounds and block shots?
Did they get one of the Lopez brothers?
Robin Lopez? I don't think.
No, he went to Washington.
No, right now their center is Aaron Baines. Aaron Baines is fine, but
Aaron Baines.
And then Pascal Siakam is going to play power forward for them, obviously. But I don't know, man. I mean, there's not a lot of rebound power there. So
I did this last year,
gonna
and
have
I
to
underestimated them, and they were a force. So I mean, I can't do that again to them.
I really like OG Anunoby. Like he really developed really well last year. He was a fun player to watch, and he came up big for them in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they're definitely going to be a top tier team. They're in the top 5 teams in the East for sure.
I think they're going to be a great.
I just don't know how much better. Like, I just don't know how much losing those 2 big men that they relied heavily on is going to affect them. That's the only thing. Yeah. All right, Miami Heat.
Oh, Miami is another team. Very interested in. Again, I know he's the same sound. I didn't think you were going to call on him back to back like those 2 ones, but whatever. I want to see if Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro can keep it up.
Yeah.
Are they the real deal? Are these guys going to be consistent, or were they just on a hot streak and just really feeling the vibe in the playoffs in the bubble, which I think, which was very real during that time. So
I think if they don't lose Dragic, that finals goes to 7 games. Like that was a huge blow for them.
Yes, I definitely agree. He came back for the 5th game, right?
Yeah, but he had like limited minutes.
Yeah,
I think it was just game 6. Was it game 5? I thought it was just game 6, but maybe.
I can't remember. But yeah, Dragic, he's the man. I like that guy. Yeah. No, I really like the Heat.
Tyler Herro's going to take another step up. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be so fucking good for them this year. Same with Duncan Robinson. Same with Kendrick Nunn. Like they're going to be huge for them.
Hope, but
and Bam, dude. Bam,
sure.
I think Bam's going to develop into like one of like top 15, like top 20, top 15 player.
Bam, yeah, he's the real deal. Yeah. I'm worried about the shooters. I don't know how they're going to keep it up. Can they really be like the Splash Bros? How these guys who can consistently put up threes and like really like get you out of jams and put those late daggers in games to close them out.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of their role. And people are going to know that, and they're going to be guarded like that because of the big splash they made in the playoffs. So see how they step up to this new like tier of player level and how people are going to treat them.
Yeah. All right. The Charlotte Hornets.
Charlotte Hornets. They just got LaMelo, so my word is, I think they're going to be exciting and controversial because you got the Jordan Brand, Charlotte Hornets, mixing with the big baller brand LaMelo and his father, all kind of just residing together under the Charlotte Hornets roof. That's going to be kind of time.
Yeah.
Over there. I think there's going to be some drama here and there. I don't know if that's necessarily going to translate to wins because Charlotte doesn't look like a good team necessarily.
LaMelo had a video that you sent me. I'm just telling the listeners. He had a video that went viral from his preseason game of like this pass that he made on a fast break for one of his teammates to get a dunk. And they were just like, oh, if these are the passes that LaMelo was going to make all season, I'm watching. I'm like, what? He just did an underhand pass. Like this was so underwhelming. Like, why are people losing their shit over this?
Because the way he passed it, he like swiped it. So it bounced forward and then cut to the left. So it's kind of like an interesting pass. And it went right to his, I don't know. It was cool, but I agree. It was underwhelming. It was still a good pass, but I wouldn't go make a highlight reel because of it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so this is one you've been wanting to talk about for a while. The Washington Wizards.
Shibuya! I'm super excited about
like
them.
Shibuya, roll call.
Shibuya. Yeah, I'm really excited to see Russ and Bradley Beal team up. I think they're going to have a lot of fun over there. I think Russ is a dog, and he can carry any team really far just because of sheer will. Power, strength, he's got like those LeBron genes where he's like, I'm just going to take this wherever I want to go. And Bradley Beal's a guy, he's going to give you 50 points in a loss. He don't care, and those two guys are they're going to be a problem for everybody. I hope they're going to shake up a lot of things in the East. And I think a lot of teams aren't expecting what's going to come from the Wizards. So Shibuya.
I mean, they almost made the playoffs last year without Bradley Beal in the bubble. If Bradley Beal goes, then maybe they make it. Like, imagine with a healthy like star point guard. Yeah, I they're gonna be fun to watch for sure. All right, the Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics. Pop. The Celtics are.
Pop.
I thought they were the most exciting, well-oiled team last year in the bubble, and in the playoffs, they unfortunately lost a little bit earlier than I had hoped. But they're a number one contender back at it. Their team is just getting better and better every year. They got a great core. Celtics are going to be a problem for like the next 5 years. So pop, better watch out.
They just
all these
extended
teams
Tatum too, so they got Tatum and Brown locked up for the next 4 years.
That's they're gonna be they
They're
found
2 stars.
that like models the Warriors had, and they're gonna build on that.
Yeah,
and they're doing it in the East. It's just Celtics are doing it so right. What a good franchise, doing it so right.
Yeah, I mean they almost beat the Heat in the East Conference Finals, and they're a good young team, and they're gonna get mature now.
Mm-hmm.
I love their 2 stars, man. I love Tatum and I love Brown. Kemba's really nice too. I don't know, how's Kemba's injury doing? I haven't really like checked up on it. Is he expected to start the season?
I don't know actually.
Because if he doesn't play, then you're looking at Marcus Smart is probably playing the point guard position. That's a completely different team with Marcus Smart at point guard.
It's not terribly different. I mean, yeah, you're probably gonna lose your production from your centers, but I don't know, because Kemba doesn't shoot nearly
he's
as much.
Out. Kemba's out right now. So Jeff Teague. Oh no, it's Jeff Teague.
Until at least January.
Yeah, and Jeff Teague is taking his place until then. That's not terrible. All right, you can make that work.
Yeah, they'll be okay. The Celtics are good. Pop. All right, watch out for the Celtics. Right. They're a good team, man.
All right, the Indiana Pacers.
The Indiana Pacers. I feel like we already talked about the Pacers. Oh, anyways. No. All right, that's another one. Oh, another zoom. All right, Pacers. I think know that they want to keep that Victor Oladipo is going to be, answering the phone a lot next summer. So they're going to try to do whatever they can to get this team going. And I think everybody on the Pacers know that like this is their window to make a run at a championship for a lot of the players, especially like Sabonis. So yeah, I think we're going to see the Pacers really step up the speed, really pick up the tempo. They got a lot of young, fast guys. Zoom. I want the Pacers to do well.
That's another city where it's tough to draw free agents over there because it's like it's fucking Indiana. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, but also Indiana's a big basketball place.
They are. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you get a guy there, you really have to like show him a good time to where he wants to stay. So like this year, you're right. Like this year is really a prove it year to Victor Oladipo. Like Brogdon and Sabonis and those guys, they got to step it up and try and like really make a run for a championship and be like, yo, like if you're here, we can maybe do it. You know what I mean?
He's gonna take his talent somewhere else and can record his album.
Or that. So yeah, Sabonis didn't even play in the bubble. I can't even imagine. I feel like that team would have been dramatically better if he plays. I like that team a lot, dude. I tried to draft Brogdon in my fantasy, and he got picked.
They got swept by the Heat, right?
I think they won one game, right? I thought they won one game.
I feel like they got swept.
I can't remember. All right, last team out of the East, the Milwaukee Bucks.
The Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, who just signed Giannis to the major contract.
Yeah.
Claps. All right. I think this is the one thing that the entire organization was worried about, losing Giannis. They got him. Now they're worried about championships now. I think that takes a big weight off of their shoulders as a fan base, organization, even for Giannis himself. And maybe that can relate to them being a better cohesive team and making a run. I don't think so, but we'll see.
I mean, do you think that it's just the machine that is the Lakers? Is that why, or is there something else?
Yeah, I don't have any confidence in any team winning the title this year that's coming out of the East because the Western Conference is so ridiculously stacked.
Yeah.
If it's not the Lakers, then it's a handful of other teams on the West. I mean, so.
All right, let's go into the West. The San Antonio Spurs.
The San Antonio Spurs. So, San Antonio Spurs are another team.
Mm-hmm.
They missed the playoffs for the first time last year, What are they gonna do to turn it around this year so they can get
They
back
just got
on track?
one game too.
One game, and honestly, like they weren't a bad team. A lot of like really grinded out, hard fought wins. Playing very technical, boring basketball, but that's their game. Are they going to change anything? Is Popovich going to have to change anything? I feel like his job is never really in jeopardy, so maybe he doesn't have to change anything too much. But the Western Conference is just different. And I feel like people are going to have to start adapting. And they haven't really shown that they're going to change too much.
Yeah.
Curious to see how they're going to change.
I really like their three-headed monster at 1 through 3 position. When they play Derek White, DeJounte Murray, and DeMar DeRozan together. Especially because those two guys can shoot, and they make up for DeRozan's lack of range in the three-point line. Aldridge, what is your opinion on Aldridge? I mean, I think he's just done, and like I think he kind of holds that team back a little bit.
When he left Portland, I feel like he got a little reborn. He was kind of like slow in Portland in his last couple of years.
Yeah.
And when he got to San Antonio, he was kind of like given new life. Was in an organization where the weight was taken off of him, and he got really comfortable and was given really good minutes. And now he's kind of sliding back into that, sluggish old man he was when he first left Portland. So maybe he needs to change of scenery, or maybe it's a career for him. I mean, he's been in the league, 10 years now?
Yeah, well, no longer than that.
Probably, yeah. He had a bad injury. I don't know. He's a consistent guy, and I bet playing for the Spurs is a good time. So, I mean, I don't know. If he stops giving you 20 points a night, maybe call it a day. But until then, I like LA.
All right. Speaking of LA Clippers.
The LA Clippers.
You are not a believer in the Clippers, huh? You've been hating on them for 2 years now.
There's too much drama. No, it's just really they just don't look like the team that they were supposed to be. I think I was kind of underwhelmed with them last year.
Yeah.
They weren't as good defensively as
they were a disappointment in the bubble, dude.
And then their offense kind of just had no flow. As soon as Kawhi is taken out of the equation, they just don't really generate anything. And I feel like a lot of times when they were having that series with Denver, Kawhi would shut down, and then you see him not rotating, so then you're looking for other people to create, and there's just not really anybody who's going to create down the stretch except for your superstar. They're extremely disappointing. I don't care for the Clippers.
I mean, they replaced Ibaka or Montrezl Harrell with Ibaka. I feel like that's an improvement defensively.
I think Kawhi and Ibaka have a really good relationship and like to play with each other a lot, which is good, I guess, for the locker room. I don't know, there's a lot of diva stuff happening over there.
Yeah.
That's tearing apart the team. Also, Pat Bev, I don't know. He's fallen off. He wasn't locked down Pat Bev in the playoffs. Wasn't scoring like he should. Playing a lot of minutes though. No, they're just kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
And I don't think they did enough this offseason to really change my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the only addition they really made was the Ibaka one, but they lost Montrezl Harrell too. So it's just kind of like you're replacing an offensive player with a defensive player. I like
Serge Ibaka a lot. He's really he's really into fashion, and I think moving to LA is gonna be super good for him. He's gonna be
really into fashion?
Extremely. He had this whole segment about scarves and put all his teammates on scarves. And I think he gave everybody a nice scarf. He might have his own line, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
I'm learning
scarves.
so much about this right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he's gonna get to the stadium and just get.
Would you buy one of his scarves?
Maybe. I mean, I would.
Are you a scarf guy? I don't feel like you're a scarf.
I would gift him to someone. I know other people who have scarves, and they'd be like, "Hey, this is an Ibaka scarf."
I feel like the scarf person is just such a fucking douchebag.
Not necessarily. All right,
come on. Your neck is that cold. Get the fuck out of here.
I understand the need for scarves. All right, sometimes you need a little filler between your beanie and your hood, but you don't want to have your hood on. You just need something there. Also, a scarf if you're sitting on the bus or something, you kind of just bunch it up. and lean
Has
back.
a
It's like
pillow.
it's like a noble pillow. That's what I'm saying.
So it's an expensive, shitty pillow. That's basically what you just said to me.
No, it's a scarf. Okay, you put it around your neck.
I feel like the second one you were really searching to find another use for a scarf, and you just made this up off the top of your
Well,
head.
all right, I've used scarves, and I was just thinking about the uses I have for scarves. All right,
I mean,
if you're ever trying to escape a building from a fire, and you need to jump to the telephone pole, you can use your scarf and throw it over, and you can use it to paraglide down or slide down.
kind of like Home Alone.
Yes, exactly like Home Alone. Scarves.
Dude, I think because we live on the West Coast, we don't really have need for scarves because it doesn't get that cold. But I don't get it.
Yeah, a shout out to all our fans, all our listeners who wear scarves. All right, scarves fuck.
Okay. All right, the Phoenix Suns.
Sorry, I was not, and I wasn't ready to make a sound.
Did you forget that we were doing this segment?
No, I didn't forget. I just was thinking about scarves, and
you were thinking about more uses for scarves
No.
because you couldn't think of any earlier because there aren't any. They're just fucking to make people look.
All
like
right,
I'm just kidding.
the Phoenix Suns. Woo, 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 sound the alarm. The Phoenix Suns are going to be the real deal. I think they were a great team. I think they went through all the phases of growing that you need as a young team when you're rebuilding. And then I think they're finally here. And I think last year was their opportunity to show it, and they got kind of cut short. And, things turned out a little differently with the bubble, as we all know. But no, now adding Chris Paul, they're going to be the real deal. They're going to come. They're going to really shake things up, be a force in the West. And honestly, I think I was counting them out, but I think they could be a playoff team. Honestly, they could be fast, quick, and I think they could really upset some teams who think they have a solid spot like the Houston Rockets.
I hear what you're saying, but I just think the West is so stacked, and I don't know if they could quite have enough to make their way up. Well, things that we know. OKC is going to be worse, so you can kind of count them out of the playoff run, which they were in last year. Portland's definitely going to be better, so you're probably talking about a top tier team in the West with Portland. The Timberwolves, I don't know, maybe they're going to be better.
Timberwolves out.
The Clippers are just a roller coaster. You never know you're going to get from them. I think the Jazz are solid in the middle tier. I think the Mavericks are going to be better. And Houston, huge question marks with them, especially if they get rid of James Harden. Who knows?
I think Memphis
and then the Warriors are going to be better.
True. Huge question mark with them as well. I think they are at the same level as Houston, as you got good talent, a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to do like we all think you're going to do and just kind of mid out, or are you going to exceed expectations and just crush it?
And then there's the machine that is the Lakers. So I mean, that's a lot of teams we're talking about. Are the Suns able to make their way into that tier teams? I don't know. Does Chris Paul make them that much better? I don't know.
Yes, I think so, because we saw how Chris Paul took the team that is the Oklahoma City Thunder and made them a playoff team.
That team had some talent on that team.
And you don't think Phoenix has that talent?
They do, but
and then they just need the direction. And here you have Chris Paul. He's the leader guy. He's the quarterback. He's going to come in and say, "Hey, see how your team is going. Let me take some pressure off of Devin Book, so he doesn't have to be the leader all the time." And
OKC
worry about generating some offense.
OKC also had depth. I don't know if the Suns have that depth that they do.
This is true, but the Suns have that explosiveness that OKC didn't. OKC. Honestly, I think they should write a book about how much they crushed it the last couple of years with their offseason and how well they got all these young acquisitions, and even getting that Chris Paul trade off in the first place to put together a team that went as far as they did. Honestly, wow. Amazing what OKC did last year. But that's besides the point. I think the Suns, they just needed a direction, and I think adding Chris Paul is a big piece to their equation. He's going to add a lot of insight, wisdom, that the Suns desperately need to even be in this conversation. Otherwise, without them making that move in the offseason, I would have counted them out. They're not making those 8 spots, 10 spots, whatever.
This is their starting 5, and then I'll tell you what their second unit is. Their starting 5 is Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton. Their second unit is Cameron Payne, Etwan Moore. Is that how you say it? I don't know. I don't recognize that name. Cameron Johnson, Dario Saric, and Jalen Smith. They lost some pretty key guys, Ricky Rubio and Kelly Oubre.
Yeah.
I don't know if that second unit is enough.
Sometimes I forget. We got Kelly Oubre, the Warriors did, but we got him from Phoenix. Sometimes I forget about that. That's a big.
I mean, so their best player is Devin Booker. Their second best player is Chris Paul. Who's their third? DeAndre Ayton.
Ayton for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Ayton's got to be a lot better. I mean, he did play a lot better last year, but
Chris Paul can generate those points that they're gonna miss from Oubre, but somebody else has to also step up.
They're gonna have to play a lot of minutes, man. I mean, there's just not much reliability in these backups in this bench.
You're saying, think about it now.
Dario Saric is good, but
losing Kelly Oubre is a big blow there.
Yeah, man.
What did we give up for Kelly? Picks, like 2 picks, right?
Yeah.
First and second. Yeah, and we got Minnesota's pick, so I kind of want Minnesota to do terribly. As a Warriors fan, I want we have. Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see, man. We'll see. They're gonna be fun. Well, I mean, I'll definitely watch them on when they're on national TV. All right, Minnesota Timberwolves.
Dun dun dun. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves, kind of a boring team.
Yeah, I think they'll continue to be disappointing.
Yeah. Like Karl Anthony Towns, I don't care to watch them when they play.
I like D'Lo too, but I just don't think it's enough. Like D'Lo,
maybe it's one of those market things, like you were saying with Milwaukee and Indiana. Like people just don't want to play there. People don't really just pay much attention there. I don't know. Like the biggest thing they had there was Kevin Garnett, Kevin Love. That's that's what they're missing in Minnesota. They don't have a Kevin.
Maybe they can get a KD.
We got to make Minnesota great again. We got to get him a KD.
Yeah, you got to
or a KG or a KL.
Yeah, just get any kind of Kevin. I never realized that their 2 best players in the history of their franchises were both named Kevin. I never realized that.
And I bet it's because people in Minnesota are probably named Kevin.
And then their third biggest is named Carl with a K.
Oh.
Oh,
okay, all right,
dude.
Hold on. We need to find some other players named Kevin.
KG, KL, K, and Cat. A lot of K's going on there. Are you trying to look for more K's from Minnesota?
Do you know any other Kevins in the league other than Durant, Love, and Garnett?
Off the top of my head, well, Garnett is retired. Off the top of my head, I don't. And I don't care enough to. Kevin Martin used to play on the Kings.
Kevin Porter Jr.
Kevin Porter? Michael Porter?
Kevin Knox. He plays for the Net.
Kevin Knox. There you go.
So these guys, they all need to go.
Kevin Herter.
Kevin Herter. Herter is Herter.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's all who plays.
That's all the Kevins.
All right, so we need to get a Kevin in Minnesota, and maybe they'll be fun.
Yeah.
Exciting, enjoyable, good. All these things, all the above. They need a Kevin. They see that they got it to Carl, which is close, but not really. So that's why they're going to get close to the playoffs, but not really.
All right.
So I should have called Katie this like 3 years ago when he was deciding where he was going to go. Hey,
if you go to Kevin, you'll be a star in Minnesota.
They already got all the signs that say Kevin. They'll just line them back up again. They already got them made.
They'll put tape over the last name and they'll write Durant.
Kevin's back, but it's like Home Alone. Kevin's back. Put the signs in the window. I got my Kevin lights here. They got shirts that already say Kevin on it.
I just watched the Home Alone movies too. That's what makes this even more funny.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right, the next one is the Portland Trail Blazers. We have to move on. Xavier.
I know. It's so funny every time we do. All right, so I went, woo.
Yeah.
The Clippers. That's me going the other way for the Portland Trail Blazers. I think the 8th seed was not a good indicator of how well they did last season, the Trail Blazers. So I think we should expect to see them like 4th or 5th seed this coming up.
I think they're the second best team in the West, in my
they're
opinion.
good. They look like they are. But
with Nurkic and Zach Collins back?
Remember, that's how we thought the Clippers were, and then come to playoffs, they weren't the second best team. You know what I mean? So I think Trailblazers got to prove it.
Look at what the Blazers did last year without Nurkic and Collins.
Yeah.
And now they have them back.
Dude, Damian Lillard is playing out of his mind. Last year, he had a season that was on par with all of Steph Curry's last 10 seasons. Dude's on fire. He's playing out of his mind. And
He's a top what? Would you say top 5? Maybe top 10. Top 10 player in the league?
Definitely
maybe top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could put him in the conversation. Okay, so all right. No, let's think about it.
Let's not do this right now. Let's not do that.
Steph, LeBron, Steph, Giannis, Kawhi,
Kevin Durant.
All right, yeah, never mind. He's not top 5.
Yeah, get out of here. No, they're good, and honestly, Portland did the right thing by just keep adding to an already good team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
they're gonna be good.
I mean, they had some bench players that played so much better last year. I mean, Melo has been fucking fantastic for them. Gary Trent Jr. Oh my God, he came out of nowhere, dude. Rodney Hood. They're gonna have Rodney Hood back too. He didn't play in the bubble, and they got Enes Kanter in the offseason. Bro, this team and Robert Covington.
Yeah, they just got him, and that's gonna be a wonderful addition.
And Derek Jones Jr. They took Derek Jones from Miami too.
I really wanted Whiteside to go there, and he didn't. He ended up signing with Sacramento, and I really don't understand that signing.
I don't think the Blazers need him, bro. I think Kanter is a perfect backup for them at that spot.
Hassan Whiteside? All right. I mean,
bro, their starting lineup: Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, Derek Jones Jr., Robert Covington, Yusuf Nurkic.
No, they're a great squad.
Anthony Simmons, Gary Trent, Rodney Hood, Melo, Enes Kanter, Zach Collins, Nasir Little.
Yeah, they don't have the money to give Hassan Whiteside what he got from Sacramento.
No. That's a good team, bro. That's
team in the NBA. Trailblazers are a squad. Second best team in the NBA. I mean, in the NBA, in the West.
Or the West.
In the West.
Yeah. I think, yeah. All right.
Isn't that the same thing?
Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oklahoma City Thunder.
No, I think Miami's better than the Blazers.
That's what I think about them. I mean, they had great moves in the offseason, but as a team that's going to be competitive, then it's not there. And I think they're okay with that. I think the fan base knows that. I think a lot of the players know that.
They're gonna be. They got picks. They're gonna be great in like 5 years.
They got picks. But buy your jerseys, buy all your throwback stuff. All the good stuff. All your, all your hats. So no one calls you a bandwagon fan in 5 years when you show up and they're going to the finals and you're like, Oklahoma City, baby. Because they got a future, and it's just it's not now.
Yeah, they're building up draft assets. They're gonna stack a team around Shea, and then once Shea hits his prime, they're gonna be fucking star.
Shea's the superstar. You don't think there's gonna be another superstar they get in a draft who's gonna be bigger than Shea?
Depends on how bad they do to where those draft picks get like up high in the lottery. You never know.
Yeah, I saw some projected like first round pick next year, and I was like, I don't even know who these guys are.
Yeah. All right, Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento Kings are.
De'Aaron Fox just signed a supermax, bro. He's gonna be there for the next 6 seasons. $230 million.
I'm always disappointed with the Kings. They always seem like a team that had a lot of young guys, and they're always building and always building and always building, and then the other guys get sick of, superstars get sick of waiting and for all the building to happen, and they go get paid somewhere else. And now it seems like they're finally like getting their core together. These young guys are growing. It's just the rest of the league just is taking off on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
they got a competing good playoff team, but so does 20 other teams now. You know what I mean? That they don't really add up. I think they're playing a different game. They're playing the old game of like, build your assets, get your core going up, kind of like how the Warriors were just 5 years ago. That's not the game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You need a little bit more just to compete. If they were in the East, I think they could have a shot at making the playoffs. I think that's to show how good they are.
Yeah, I agree.
But they're gonna get pushed out for sure because they're not gonna be able to close these games like some of these more experienced teams that have veteran players. They're gonna lose the game in those last 2 minutes.
The key to their team is having a healthy Marvin Bagley. When he's in the lineup, he's like a Draymond Green for them. The way he facilitates the offense, they go through him. It's like night and day. But if he's gonna be hurt again, like he has been the past 2 seasons, they're fucking doomed. So if he can be healthy and play all 70 games, then they're gonna be an interesting team, and they might make a run. Okay, Denver Nuggets.
Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are a team. Another team that's very interesting to see how they're gonna complement a really good season last year. I think them coming back twice in the playoffs, and then eventually losing to the Lakers shows like they're a really good competitive playoff team, and you should take them seriously in any round. So their seeding kind of almost doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like they'll be fine with like being a 5th, 6th, 7th, or even 8th seed because they know how to play series basketball, and they can really come up on you. Like come back 3-1 twice against 2 pretty solid teams. It's impressive, And Jamal Murray, like he's the man, and he's going to continue to be the man. And he knows what the stakes are. He went to Kentucky. Yeah, very interested to see how they're going to do in the West.
I think Michael Porter is going to take a next step, and he's going to be a huge number 3 guy for them, and they're going to be a lot better. But they lost a key player in Jeremy Grant, who played a lot of key minutes in the playoffs for them and made a lot of big plays. And I'd be a little bit worried if I were them.
It's just another player who has to step up, and that's how these things go.
But can Will Barton and fucking Gary Harris and those guys step up? Because they haven't been the past few years. I don't know. But I think Michael Porter Jr. is the key to their season. If he's good, then they're going to be a top 3 team in the league. If he's not, then they're just going to be sitting around the same spot they have been, 4 or 5 seed, whatever. They'll get bounced out in semis or something like that.
Doesn't matter how good you are if you're going to lose to the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, Dallas Mavericks.
Dallas Mavericks are a clap. I think they made a lot of good moves in the offseason. I think they're getting ready to kind of load up and make their run at the West. They've always been a good team. That was always been in danger of being very mid, but always wanted that Spurs kind of mentality where you're consistently a good team, which they kind of have. They've been good for the last decade. They added some more depth. They got Willie Cauley-Stein, who I really liked when he was on the Warriors last year, and they got Luka, man. Luka's gonna be one of the best players in the league. And didn't he go number 1 in your draft?
Yeah, he did. And they got Josh Richardson, huge addition for them. But they lost. But dude, they lost Seth Curry. I feel like that is a big blow for them. That's just a go-to for a go-to scorer and shooter off the bench that you just need. Who's gonna he makes a lot of big shots and a lot of big moments, man. I don't know.
Yeah, he facilitates really well. He moves around the court really well. I want to see Porzingis make it through a whole season.
Yeah, same.
And 2, actually do something in the playoffs, because Luka, that guy's good, and if Porzingis can complement him as he should, that could be unstoppable. And they could really beat up a team like the Clippers, and maybe match up well enough with the Lakers. We'll see. They do have they have that depth. They have a good squad.
And they got my boy Tim Hardaway Jr. back too.
Tim Hardaway Jr. I like Tim Hardaway Jr.
He's gonna be healthy this year, and I think he's
Yeah.
gonna be important for them. All right. Hey, and that was a fun series they had against the Clippers. That really showed like they could really do something here. Houston Rockets.
Mavericks are good. The Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets are a mess. So for that, I'm gonna have a fart noise. Sorry. Excuse me. I should say. No, the Houston Rockets. They added two guys, John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. And DeMarcus Cousins, everybody knows, is kind of, I don't know if you know, he's kind of a drama queen. He can kind of like make a fit, be a little dramatic. He's just that kind of guy. So pairing that with James Harden, who's currently doing that, it's just gonna add hilariousness and ridiculousness, and fun. I don't know. I think DeMarcus Cousins pairing up with John Wall again is going to be exciting to see.
I just feel like the game has developed and kind of passed them by, like their style.
I don't agree necessarily. I think if they figure it out, they could be a fun, exciting team because they have all the pieces that you need to have a big three that would really generate a lot of big offense.
I mean specifically John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. The game's passed them by. If James Harden stays, then he's the glue piece. He's the one thing that they can't do. You know what I mean? Like he can create a shot from anywhere on the court. That's the one thing that those two guys can't do.
The only thing I'm worried about,
puts all those pieces together.
I think they can. I think I'm worried about is that them not figuring it out soon enough. Like how many games are they going to lose? How far they can drop down in the rankings before they figure it out and they start stringing wins together. Is that going to cost them a playoff spot? Is that going to make them have to get it together and fight their way into the playoffs? And can they handle that kind of stress as a first year team together? So it's a mess over there, and I think they needed to figure this out earlier, and they're not. So it's going to be 20 games in before you see some cohesion between these guys.
Yeah. All right. Our Golden State Warriors for the YouTube watchers right now. I got my Warrior sweatshirt on, so I just put it up in the camera.
That's the sound of celebrations. The Warriors are in the position where, as a Warriors fans, you want them to be in. The underdogs. Everybody's kind of discrediting. Really not having any expectations, excuses for them that they don't necessarily need. I think they're going to do super well. They're really young, exciting. They have some fresh faces, like Kelly Oubre, and James Wiseman and Andrew Wiggins. And they're going to go off. Losing Clay is tough, but they're going to go off, And I think Steph Curry, he's got a lot to prove, and he knows that. And there's no reason, if he's healthy, that he won't go off. His shoe is not going to get broken. Man can still shoot. He looks like in great shape. He's thriving. He's still young. I want to see
20. He put up 29 points in 29 minutes the other night.
Yeah, the man can shoot, and he's going to be a problem. And the Warriors look fast, and that's the best thing. They look quick. They can move up and down the court with ease. And these young guys that they got on the bench, they look like the Kings, but they got the experience and the vets that to put it all together. These guys are really fighting for minutes, and they're gonna fight for points. Loving the Warriors right now.
And that fast paced run Warriors team is always the fun team to watch. And this team reminds us of that 2015 just fucking move up and down the court.
What did the Death Squad do, man? They just ran on you and scored. There's nothing you could do about it.
And Oubre and Wiggins fit that perfectly. They're both super fucking athletic. They're both long. They both can create shots from anywhere on the court. They're not as successful, obviously, as other guys at doing that, but they are good and they're fun to watch. And they just they fly up and down, and it's so much fun. And watching Steph just fucking dish it out to them and just take shots from fucking 40 feet. It's amazing. I love it. And I'm very excited to watch.
Golden State, baby.
New Orleans Pelicans.
New Orleans Pelicans. That's a team that I'm going to go, hey! Fun, cool team to watch. I think I'm going to see them all over my TV because of Zion and Lonzo.
Ingram.
And they're in a fun market, and Ingram. But I don't think they got a spot.
Yeah, I
in
just don't
in
think
the
they're there
playoffs.
yet.
They're not there yet, which is hard to say because they have so much good talent.
Yeah.
But
And it
they got to
sucks
play
because they
just
should be in
like
the
everybody
East
else.
based on where they're located in the geographic United States. And if they were in the East, they'd be like a fucking 4 seed.
Yeah, but they're in the West. Yeah, are they the furthest team east?
No,
Or furthest west?
the Memphis Grizzlies, I think, are.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the furthest east team that's west?
That's a good question. Let's see.
Well, I guess we'll never know.
Detroit, maybe?
Huh.
I don't know, but they're not that far.
Chicago? Nah, it's not that
East.
far either.
No, there's not a lot of very East or Western teams in the East. Yeah, see, it doesn't really make sense. All right, yeah, I agree. I just don't think they're there yet. I think they're a couple years away, and I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. They'll be fun to watch. Utah Jazz.
The Utah Jazz. I remember there being some confusion, I mean, not hostility, between Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell last season.
Which is interesting how they they just signed both of them long term too, which is even
My sound is mwah, kisses, because they clearly have kissed and made up, because I don't think signing Rudy Gobert for 5 years means that they want to get rid of him anytime soon, and they're definitely not getting rid of Donovan Mitchell. I mean, if they did,
they just re-signed Donovan Mitchell to Supermax too.
Yeah, so they clearly had to squash whatever beef was going on between them, because Denver has expressed that they are all in. I mean, Utah has expressed that they're all in on these guys.
Yeah,
and so they had to get it together. I mean, they play good basketball. I mean, except for Rudy Gobert, whatever. No, they're good. They're a good team.
You're
they're
still
good squad.
hating on Rudy Gobert.
They're a good squad. I really like Donovan Mitchell. They're a force to be reckoned with in the West. But then again, they're not one of my top contending teams in the West.
Yeah.
They're
like middle tier. They'll probably dance around like 5 seed, like they did last time. Yeah. They're good though. All right. So the last team of this Sounds of the Season are reigning champions, the Los Angeles Lakers.
The Los Angeles Lakers. And for that, I got a big old boo.
Because you're just a hater?
Yeah, I mean, they got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They're probably going to do just as well as they did last year. I think they're the front runner to win a whole another championship back to back.
Bro, they got better.
They got better. And they won. They kind of dominated a lot last year.
Yeah.
They kind of whipped up on the bubble. No, I mean, actually, the early bubble, they were all right. Weren't scoring too many points. And then come playoffs, dominant. They're the front runners.
Dennis Schroeder, they added Montrezl Harrell. Like, they added Marc Gasol. Like, fuck.
Sometimes it makes me think, like, was last year the targeted year to win a championship? Or was this year the year to win a championship? Because now that this year they had the money, they had already paid everybody. Now they can actually put together the team.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're going to make a big playoff championship run, but they already did it last year. It's like they pulled it off before they meant to pull it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're boring. Whatever, boo. They're going to win another championship unless something crazy happens. Like, the Warriors going 2016 all over again. Just insane run.
All right, folks, that was Xavier's Sounds of the Seasons. So that's what you should look out for.
These are my other sounds.
All right, and what was that sponsored by?
That was sponsored by Chia Pets. A little pet, and you just water it. Chia.
All right, cool. Let's finish it off with games to watch and then awards, huh?
I like that. All
right, so upcoming games this week. Obviously we have our season opener on the 22nd. The Warriors are facing off against the Brooklyn Nets.
That's one to watch.
That is at 4 p.m. on ESPN.
That's very one to watch
for that game. That is the game opening up of the season.
Is that in Brooklyn or in?
It's in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see
KD rematch with his old team.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be good fun. Who do you got winning that one?
Warriors.
Duh.
Always. We're gonna be homers on that one for sure. And then following that right after, the Los Angeles Clippers facing off the Los Angeles Lakers, 7 p.m. on ESPN. Then the next day, the 23rd, the Bucks play the Celtics at 4:30 on TNT.
Hey, hold on. You think that Lakers Clippers game is that a must-win game for the Clippers?
The first game of the season?
Deadass, yeah. Do you think it's a must-win game for them to like kind of like set the tempo and like be like, hey, we won the first game. We're something. Yeah, because they kind of lost in spectacular fashion.
I think it's a must-win in terms of shutting the media up because we've been talking all off season, which has only been a month and a half.
It's a statement game.
We've been talking
need to make a statement.
Yeah, we've been talking all off season about them and talking shit about them and how their chemistry is off and they underperformed and Paul George is losing his mind and all these things. So I think, it's a statement game for them to shut everybody up.
If they go beat the reigning champ Lakers first game of the season, which
and
it's not impossible. It's one game.
No. And here's the thing for the Lakers. If they lose that game, it's not a big deal for them because it's just like, oh, cool. The Clippers are good. Like no one's going to be all about like, oh, the Clippers or the Lakers suck now. No, it's just going to be like whatever. And they're going to move past it. Where the Clippers, it's bad news if they lose that game. The media's going to be all over them.
Yeah, Clippers can't lose that game. It's a must win. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's just hard to take a must win the first game of the season.
Yeah, that's why I said it because it's insane.
All right, Bucks versus the Celtics.
Come to this podcast for those kind of takes, ladies and gentlemen.
Bucks versus Celtics. Is this a must-win for the Bucks?
It's not. It's not at all.
Okay.
Is it a must-win for the Celtics? Maybe. No, it's not. It's not. Am I wrong though about the Clippers?
Right after that, on the 23rd, is the Mavericks versus the Suns. That's at 7:30 on ESPN. Is that a must-win for the Suns?
It's actually a must-lose. They gotta lose that game.
All right. And then on Christmas Day, we have the Christmas Day lineup. That's going to be a fun day. I will not be spending Christmas with my family because of COVID, so I'll be at home getting drunk, watching basketball all day. The New Orleans Pelicans.
Sounds like a must-lose situation.
Versus the Miami Heat at 9 a.m. on ESPN. That's definitely a must-win for the Heat. That's definitely a must-win. Battle of the Bayou right there.
Battle of the Bayou.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, that's a must-win. You're right. Yeah.
And then the Warriors play the Bucks at 11:30 a.m. on ABC. That's a must-win for the Warriors for sure.
It is because it shows Giannis what they could have had. You know what I mean?
It's versus the current MVP versus
the former MVP.
Yeah.
And then after that handshake.
Is this a preview of the MVP race for this season? Is it a must-win for whoever the MVP is going to be?
Yes, everybody knows whoever wins on Christmas Day usually ends up winning the MVP. I don't know if that's a real stat. Somebody look it up.
All right, the Brooklyn Nets face the Boston Celtics at 2 p.m. on ABC.
Should be a good game.
Who's it a must-win for, though?
Kyrie.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of sage he burns.
Are there different types of sage?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah? What's your favorite?
Palo Santo.
Is that actually one, or did you just make that up?
That's definitely a 100% a type of sage.
Is it actually?
Well, you like burn it and like smokes out your house and it smells good, and it's like, I did it in my house for the Rona, like to get out of there, just burn some Palo Santo around there. It's
after you got Rona.
Mm-hmm. No, actually, this was before the Rona. Actually,
so it brought Rona into your apartment.
Maybe I just didn't do it enough to combat the Rona. Kyrie seems like he's doing it everywhere he goes, so maybe I gotta start doing that. I'm gonna come over to your house and just burn some shit.
Well, please don't do that.
No, like sage. Hey, is these your tax returns for 2014? I'm just burning them in the fridge. Like, it don't matter, right?
All right. And then after that is the Dallas Mavericks playing the Lakers at 5 p.m. on ABC.
Gotta watch that game.
I don't think no must wins for them.
No, must watch though. All must watch television.
Must watch though. And then the final game of the night, Lakers versus the Nuggets at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. That's another must win for the Clippers. Statement game.
Yes.
The team that beat them in the semifinals.
That's the first time they are going to face
them.
bro. Definitely.
Yeah.
And you know the media's gonna build that one up beforehand, so it's gonna be fun to watch. And maybe Paul George will say something he shouldn't say on Twitter, and then when he like loses or something, you know, everybody can go make fun of him.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of
does that.
must watch, must tweet, ladies and gentlemen. It's a must tweet.
And then on December 26th, day after that, Houston versus Portland, 7:30 p.m. on NBA TV. Dallas versus the Clippers at 12:30 p.m. on NBA TV. So fun week of basketball.
Can't wait.
All right, let's give out some awards if we have any. Xavier, I have 2 awards. Do you have any?
I got 2 awards too.
Do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first?
You go first.
All right, my first one is I'm going to give out an Iceman Award for this past week.
Okay.
To our boy Steph Curry. Like we mentioned earlier, Steph, 29 points against the Kings a couple days ago in 29 minutes. 6 for 13 from 3. He shot 46% from 3 that day.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have his field goals, but it was 55% from field goal from the field. And he just made his teammates a lot better. Like he really like I said, we were talking about it when we were talking about the Warriors. Like they just ran up and down the court and just like used their athleticism and their stamina, and they just fucking go. And they just drained threes like nobody's business. The entire team shot from 45% that day. 45% from 3. Wild. Jordan
They're
Poole,
really good.
2 for 3 from 3-pointer.
They're on fire.
22 points, 4 for 6 from 3. Andrew Wiggins, 19 points, 3 for 7 from 3. I mean, they're going to be fun, and he makes them better. So Iceman goes him. All right, what's yours?
You know, I'm surprised you said that because I had an Iceman Award too, but it was for your boy Kyle Guy.
Ooh,
he had the game-winning 3-pointer to beat the Warriors in preseason.
I would give him a heat check award.
I mean, he not only iced the game, you know, but he showed up in the fourth quarter scoring 18 points, and 15 of them were off of 3-pointers.
And he made the final game of the shot of the game.
Exactly, he iced it. He's the ice man. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Yeah, but it was also kind of
dangerous.
You could go either way. It was also kind of a heat check though, because when he came in the game, he was just like, "All right, cool, I'm taking over right now," and just fucking went.
Yeah, is he the real deal, Kyle Guy?
I love Kyle Guy. So I was.
Or is he like a Tyler Hero?
I was texting him about that, or you guys about that night after that game when he checked in the game. Like, my boy Kyle Guy's coming in. He was so fucking good at Virginia when they won their national championship, and he was kind of that Tyler Hero type of guy. He was like this white dude who could just like
he made that shot right
from anywhere on the court, huh?
He made that shot to win the game. They won. They won because of him.
No, free throws. He made the last 2 free throws to win.
I thought he shot that 3 to win the game.
No, he got fouled on that shot.
That's right. Right.
And then he had 3 free throws, and he made all 3 of them.
Kyle Guy, yeah, he did it.
But he has like a Tyler Hero type of. He's not as talented as Tyler Hero, but he could be a really good piece off the bench for them in a role kind of similar to that. He plays a very similar style. He can make a shot from anywhere on the court. He has a lot of swagger, a lot of confidence.
He needs a song.
I like him.
Like Tyler Hero does.
Nice.
Jack Harlow made a song. And honestly, Jack Harlow could make a song. His name is Kyle Guy. Like, if there was ever like an opportunity to make a funny song, or not even a bopping song, you have one with Guy in it. I don't know.
I can't
decide
if that's
why they don't make the millions.
I can't decide if that's like a basic bitch white boy name or if that's like a dope ass name. Kyle Guy. Like you're at a party and you introduce yourself like, "What's up, man? I'm Kyle Guy." You just like give a strong handshake. Like that's, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of
Guy.
You make an impression on people when you introduce yourself as Kyle Guy.
Yeah, I know people whose first name is Guy.
Oh, really?
Like, what's up, I'm Guy, and you're like, oh, all right, cool. Like, I don't know.
And you just kind of like brush it off.
Yeah. I guess it's not any different than meeting like a Scooter or like a.
But like a last name, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So my next award is the Toby Flenderson Award, which goes out to the most annoying person at the moment. And Kyrie Irving is annoying the shit out of me. Like every time he shows up on like a storyline in the media, I just like, oh my God, what does this fucking moron do now? Like he's just taking up airtime. And I don't want to read about how he's burning sage in Boston Garden. I don't want to read about how he refuses to do media calls after like practices and games. I don't want to read about how he fucking posts stupid shit on his Instagram. Like, I don't care. Like, stop you're annoying me. Go away. You're the annoying HR rep that ruins the fun. Just stop. So,
Kyrie, let's hang out sometime if you're listening. Just let's hang out. Call me. We can be
God.
friends.
All right. So
Burn some sage together.
what's your award? Your last award?
All right, my last award is the Big Money Bag Award. A shout out to my boy Giannis. Okay, he finally got the big bag that he's been looking for. He made the max, 228 for 4 years, 5 years, 4 years.
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years, 5 years. Yeah, I didn't write down years. He got drafted by Milwaukee. He started from the bottom. You always knew about this kid. He's been hustling, got the MVP. It only makes sense that he should get this maximum contract. So yeah, he's the winner. He gets the award this week because
And you
he got paid.
And you get a golf clap.
Yes. I know Rudy Gobert also got paid, but whatever.
Let's not start Xavier on Rudy Gobert again.
He needs money to fly back and forth to France all the time. Get his freaking French cigarettes.
Okay. What's wrong with French cigarettes?
Nothing. They're just tiny and like petite. They're for girly men.
All right.
And Rudy Gobert.
That's gonna do it for NBA Breakfast this week. We'll be back next Monday with more funness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basketball. Watch the games.
Good first episode, Xavier.
Yeah, you too, Chris.
Did you have fun?
I always have fun.
What is our fun sponsored by?
Our fun is sponsored by crack cocaine. I haven't tried it, but my curiosity to try it is what fuels me. Crack cocaine, put it in your cereal.
All right, that's going to do it. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
NBA Breakfast is an independently produced podcast as a member of the Bandwagon Fan Podcast Network. It is hosted by Xavier Gomez and myself, Chris Madrigal, as well as produced by us. It is executive produced and managed by me, Chris Madrigal, and additional thanks and producer credit to my brother Larry Madrigal for helping us create the idea of the podcast and designing our logo and graphic. It is sound mixed and edited by me. And one final big shout out to our boy Mitch Maines, who provided music for our theme song. He has some great music. Go check out his music on SoundCloud, Mitch Maines, Maynes. Thanks again for listening, and please subscribe to our channel. We have new episodes coming every single week during the NBA season. Don't forget to tune in next week, and peace!